Hello there, I'm the Thirsty Bookworm. The word cake gets its origins from the Norse word kaka, but the Egyptians likely started the trend with a substance more like sweetened bread than what we think of as cake long before. Fast forward to the mid-17th century, when European bakers started creating what would pass as cake by our modern standards. The history of the old-fashioned, in comparison, is in its infancy. A gin-like predecessor is published in Jerry Thomas's Bartender's Guide, How to Mix Drinks, back in 1862. The first person to incorporate whiskey is a source of wide debate, but the first published version was likely in Modern American Drinks, written by George Kapler. Either way, what happens when you combine this quintessential cocktail and culinary confection, then cook it in a coffee cup? You get... In order to make this cocktail mug cake, I recommend separating the ingredients into two teams, the wet and the dry. We'll start the wet team off with our fat, 1.5 tablespoons of melted butter. Now add the moo juice, 1.5 tablespoons will do nicely. On to the star, 1.25 tablespoons of whiskey. I suggest something with a higher proof, but not too expensive. I'm using mellow corn here. Mix that up reasonably well with a little gentle gyration. Let's talk dry team. Begin with 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Add on 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Get it all in there, it's what makes it rise. Throw in a pinch of salt. And 1/2 teaspoon of orange zest. Be sure not to get any of the pith, that'll make it bitter. Go ahead and thoroughly combine all of your dry ingredients together. That's right, nice and homogenized. With that done, we can now mix together dry team into wet team. Try not to spill, like I did. Mix it together to get it all incorporated, but don't overmix. It could make your cake extra tough, and we don't want that. Just go ahead and make sure that all of the dry ingredients are now wet and there aren't any boulder-sized clumps or lumps. Once you're through with that, I top it with a tablespoon of brown sugar, but it seems sweeter than I remembered. I would cut it down next time, maybe about half that. In an old-fashioned isn't an old-fashioned without bitters. I like 4 to 6 dashes of bitters, just let them sit right on top. I've used orange bitters instead of orange zest and bitters with decent results. Go ahead and pop your mug cake and batter into the microwave and set for a minute. Your time may vary depending on equipment. Here's the key to success. Take about 1/8 teaspoon of your whiskey and drip it on top. You want just enough to get that whiskey aroma, but not so much to make it soggy. There's nothing left to do now, but indulge responsibly. I find this offers an excellent compromise for nights when you can't decide between dessert and a drink. Well, there you have it, an old-fashioned mug cake. If you make it, let me know what you think. I'll go ahead and misquote an already misquoted Marie Antoinette here and say, let them drink cake. Thanks for joining me. I'm the Thirsty Bookworm, and this has been the Cocktail Talkin'.